Hello and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video we're going to be talking about how you can improve at Escape from Tarkov. Before we get into it, I just want to go over two things. The first is that you can do everything right in Escape from Tarkov and still die. You can still fail. If you make the best play, come in with the right ammo, use the best armor, you can still die. Whether it's due to hackers and cheaters or just sheer bad luck, no one in this game survives 100% of their raids. And the second part is, to get better at this game you have to acknowledge that you play a part in each death, which sounds counterintuitive to the first part, but if you can look for where you went wrong in an encounter and what led to your death and accept responsibility for that, you will improve far greater as a player against someone who can't. And with that said, one of the first things I would recommend doing is record your deaths. Sounds silly, but if you set up a recording software like NVIDIA Shadowplay, or Xbox has its own thing with the Windows Store, I don't know. But if you do that, 9 times out of 10 when you don't understand how you died, you can record it and pinpoint where you went wrong. I've got a clip up on screen here. Now, basically what happened is I went into a scav raid, I found some loot, I was going to push down on Shoreline, go down the bottom route. I thought that's, pretty safe. The guy had dog tags left on him, so there was a player around, but I was being pretty cautious. The idea behind recording your deaths is just to show you what went wrong. In the heat of the moment, when the adrenaline's pumping, you don't think analytically, you think tactfully, you think instinctively. You're just concerned about surviving, getting through the fight. And the only way you progress from that stage is to go back, watch what you did, and try and do something different next time. So here's where everything goes wrong for me in this scav run. What I do is I sit up on this ridge, and I try to look down towards that little choke point between lighthouse and gas station on Shoreline. I'm just trying to see if I can spot who killed this guy. Now usually I would look for someone on the right hand side and boom, dead. Now I could not for the life of me find out where I got killed from. Now we slow it down and we look into it, and I put a nice red circle on it. It'll come up any moment now. Waiting for it. Jesus Christ, how slow did I make this clip? I feel like I'm in CSI, just enhance. It's pixelating. But this is the essence of finding out what's wrong, is to figure out where you died from. You can see him just appear from that bush down that side, and then I'm dead. Where did I go wrong there? Well, biggest thing I did was I should have just picked the stuff up and left. You know what I mean? Like, there was a dead PMC on the ground. I was a scav. I could just profit purely by leaving. After that, I'd recommend plotting your deaths on a map. Whether you do it on a printout or you do it on a file with an image editing software, just so long as you record and know where the problem areas on a map are for you. Everyone has different playstyles, different maps that benefit them, and the only way to find out which maps are good for you and where in particular you do well in those maps is to find out where you don't do so well. So if you die 100 times at Dorms and you plot that on a map, it'll become perfectly apparent that maybe Storms isn't the best place for you to go. But if you do fantastically, set up a new gas station on those rocks, and that's where you get all your kills, it shows you where to play to your strengths. After that, I would recommend learning to point fire. Point fire is when you fire your gun without aiming down sight and using that to engage, instead of aiming down sight and losing that precious time. Now, Escape from Tarkov isn't like most games. There isn't massive accuracy reductions for firing from the hip. Your bullet goes where your gun's pointing. So if you're decent at this game, you can be pinpoint accurate without aiming down sight. It seems like a very daunting thing at first to try and point fire, but it's really simple once you get the hang of it. Start with a fully automatic weapon, because it becomes much easier to readjust the gun mid fire. and then go to semi-automatics. Bolt actions are a funny grey area. Some people can, point fire fantastically with a bolt action. Me personally, aiming down sight with a bolt action is still my go-to. Laser sights help a ton with this, and you can get a nice blue one pretty cheaply from Skier level 1, so I'd always recommend sticking one of those on a gun. So here I'm on customs with a hunter, and I'm entering the dorms to complete a quest, and I get into a fight. And it goes south for me quickly, like guy pops out from the left there. And here, I was scoped in at first, but it just quickly becomes unfeasible to keep that up. Unfeasible? Infeasible. One of the two. And I take the guy out on the left just by point firing with the hunter. Now, the fantastic thing is, the hunter is an absolutely terrible gun for multi-sighting on it. Putting a canted sight on or something. So learning to point fire with a hunter makes it viable to keep a scope on it at all times. I think it's in these close quarters combat situations where point firing becomes absolute king. You see there where I take out that scav, I don't aim down sight, I just keep pulling the trigger. I point him, put him in the center of my screen, and I just keep hitting, the fire button. It takes a little while to get it instinctively, and it's not an easy thing to learn how to do, but it is more than worth its time and investment. See, right there, that guy was so close, I couldn't have scoped in, I couldn't have done anything if I tried, so point firing was the way. I find practicing on scavs on offline mode is a fantastic way to hone, all of my skills, whether it be repositioning, flanking, or just point firing. The scavs have a difficulty setting that's hidden from the player view. So there's 3 different difficulty settings, including a 4th one, which is Sniper Scav, which they don't actually let you, I don't think they let you put that on in offline mode. But if you just whack them on as online, you get put against some easy ones, some difficult ones, and some insane ones. And if you're waiting for a group to start up, or for your mate to get on, or you're waiting for a scav to come off cooldown, going into an offline raid is a fantastic way just to keep progressing in the game where your macro skill is involved. The next step up from practicing on scav is practicing on raiders. Now, raiders are insanely difficult. It's almost unfair how difficult raiders are, but once you learn how to fight them in both close quarters and long range engagements, they can become insanely good things to train on. Raiders, I would argue, are probably, twice as difficult as most PMCs. They have their predictable patterns, and you can, at some point, game the system where you can engage them from a distance where they won't see you. They travel on set paths, but when it comes down to the close combat situation, they've got pretty much hit scan and nearly unlimited ammo and pinpoint grenades. They are some of the most difficult enemies to face in a close quarter scenario. That's why I'd recommend jumping into a reserve, getting the raiders out, and having a go at them. Because if you can fight raiders, you can fight players. The next logical step from fighting raiders is taking on scav bosses. Now, they range in difficulty. Killer is not as difficult as Gluhar, but the best thing about them is that usually they come with one boss and up to 4 to 6 guards. Now what this will do is, if you can take out scav bosses back to back consecutively, it'll train you to fight multiple opponents at once, which will lend an incredible hand when you have to fight squads of 2, 3, 4, 5 PMCs. It may seem impossible at first to think about even taking out 3 or 4, 5 man squads, but from someone who plays in 3, 4, 5 man squads, don't worry, it's easier than you think. We get taken apart on the regular by just one dude. When you have a lapse in communication, or you have a lapse in judgment, and you end up charging the guy who's just killed 3 of your friends one at a time. So I wouldn't worry too much about numbers in this game. Arguably, solo players have a massive advantage in some measures. I definitely think being a solo player is harder than playing in a team, just for the sheer fact of being able to loot the body without having to worry about getting shot from a sniper. But if you can take out a scav boss by yourself, you know, a team of 6 radar-like NPCs that have almost telekinesis with one another, you can take out a 5-man squad easily. After that, I would recommend getting used to a few select weapons. If you try, you know, the beauty of Escape from Tarkov is every single weapon handles differently to another, and no 2 weapons are going to be the same in a different PMC's hands. You might be a fantastic shot with the Mosin bolt action, another person might hate it. The point of Escape from Tarkov is finding the weapon you love to use and getting better with it. And that's why I'd recommend sticking with the same base group of weapons, because if you flit from weapon to weapon, it's going to be more difficult to become skillful with a single weapon. Generally what we mean by getting better at Escape from Tarkov is to get more kills, to survive more. One of my recommendations that I hear recommended a lot would be to chase gunshots, and I can't tell you how important it is to do this if you want to PvP and win. The premise is, if you are chasing gunshots, you are catching PMCs at their most vulnerable. They've given away their position, and they're either in a fight or have just finished a fight and therefore need healing. You're taking advantage of their disadvantage, and that is one of the easiest ways to fight and kill a PMC. In the clip I'm showing you now, I was up the top there and I started hearing a barrage of shots, loads of shots. So what I did is I ran down to try and find out where they're coming from, and I found these 2 just lying there. They're engaged with a sniper scav and they're just firing away. They didn't even hear me approach. You know, it's so easy to get kills on people who aren't suspecting to be snuck up upon. Someone who's already given away their position is such an easy target towards the person that you don't know is there. And that's going to be it for the majority of this video. I am by no means a great Escape from Tarkov player. I have a lot of hours put in, but mechanically I am really bad. My general benefit comes from map knowledge, knowing where scavs spawn, where they don't spawn, you know, where the scav boss is going to be, where to get this item, where to get that. But I think these general tips can outline how to tackle some problems in gameplay. If you're the type of person that likes to run around and pop every scav they see, that's fine, but just know that the PvP monster out there in your game is trying to find those gunshots and trying to kill you, because that's how they're wired. They hear a gunshot and they go for it because they know there's a player there and they want to kill it. I hope this video helps you, and if you need any help in Escape from Tarkov, or you need any questions answered, just slap a comment down below. If you're struggling to find a flash drive, just give me a shout. You know, I know plenty of places you can find them that are generally easier than, you know, trying to spawn in with one as a scav. But any issues like that, just give me a shout in the comments and I'll see what I can do to give you a hand. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.